This is your Utica Comets pregame show with Eyewitness News Sports Director David Edelstein. Utica Comets Faceoff.
The Utica Comets have back-to-back home games for the first time this season. Tonight, Utica hosts rival Syracuse Crunch, and it's the fourth time that these teams will face off with each other already in early this year. It's the Comets' 10th game overall now. Comets had 1 day of rest between Wednesday's game and tonight, and they needed it to freshen up their legs because the game against Rochester on Wednesday was a pretty long one. You'll see why in a second. Coming off a loss against the same team just last week, the Comets look to get ahead first. And early in period one, Rochester tries to clear, but Josh Tevis takes the puck into the zone over to Hugh McGing, and he scores his first professional goal. Utica leads 1-0 less than 3 minutes into the game. He gets a hockey hug, and he gets to lead the line for the first time as a pro for the fist bumps. Now late in period one, Lucas Jasek is there. He intercepts that one. Then Mitch Elliott winds up getting it. He slips, but Jonah Gadjevic is right near the net, where he's placed himself basically all season. It's his 8th goal of the year. He now leads the league in scoring, but the Americans came back with the goal in period 2 and 3. So 2-2 went to overtime, now to a shootout. Hugh McGing in the bottom of the first. He scores again off the momentum of his first goal of his career. And so now the Comets have the 1-0, but it wound up being 1-1 after 3. So in the bottom of the fourth, that's Stevens who walks it off for the Comets. Jake Kiley stood on his head for Utica in order to get the win. The Comets win in a shootout. Now 3 of the Comets' 5 games against the Americans, too, have been 1-goal games. And there have been close games, and the standings are close, too. The Utica Comets currently stand in 5th place. They have 11 points in 8 games, which actually ranks Utica 3rd in points percentage in the division and 8th in the league. The Comets have 3 games in hand over the first-place Bears, and Utica's been neck and neck with Rochester all season, including most games that they've played against each other so far. Let's look at team comparisons. Utica has had a bit more success than Syracuse so far this season. If you look down the power play matchup, that's where the main difference has been for these teams. The Comets have the 8th best power play by percentage in the league so far. Those top 8 teams are actually the only ones with 10 or more power play goals to this point. Utica man advantage did go 0-for-4 2 days ago, though. The Comets are in the top 7 for how many times they've been on the power play as well. The Crunch have been struggling, though, just 5-for-35. That puts Syracuse in the bottom 10. Comets head coach Trent Cole said Wednesday that he was impressed with his team's penalty kill, which went 3-for-4, including a huge 4-on-3 kill in overtime. And also, both these teams' PK is in the bottom of the league, though. There are names that have made it all happen for Utica. We've talked about Gadjevic leading in goals, 7 in his last 6 games. It's more than half the number he had all of last year. And then also you have Lucas Jasek, who now holds the team lead in assists by himself with 7. Jack Rathbone has taken the AHL by storm so far. He's the only one on the team averaging more than a point per game. Head coach Trent Cole says it's pretty amazing to see Rathbone adjust to the league so quickly after he left college 2 years early to go pro and didn't even play for a year before this. And then Gadjevic also leads in shots. He had 7 on Wednesday. That's actually an 1/8 of the number that he had all of last season in just 1 game this week, and it's paying off. Looking at the Crunch, Syracuse has really been spreading the wealth. Gabriel Fortier, Otto Sumper, Taylor Radish, and Boris Kachuk and John Ludwig all have 5 points in 9 games. Fortier and Sampi lead in goals. Heponiemi, Kachuk, and Ludwig lead in assists. And Heponiemi is up there also in points per game, but he's only played 3 games so far. Meanwhile, Radish has been putting the puck on net quite a lot. So those are the guys who have been making the impact through the first quarter of the season. Names you've heard quite a bit. After the break, we'll actually speak with one of the Comets players who's played just 4 games so far, but he's already making a name for himself. It's Jack Rathbone, who will join us after the break.
You're watching the Utica Comets Faceoff.
The National Hockey League is set up this year, leaves a lot of room for young players to get some opportunities. Each NHL team has 4 to 6 AHL players on its taxi squad. Then add on top of that the 5 Comets players who have been called up by the St. Louis Blues already this season, and there's a lot of opportunity here in Utica. One of those young players is Jack Rathbone, who joins us now. He left Harvard University 2 years early to make the switch and go pro. Vancouver Canucks kept him on their taxi squad to start the season before sending him to Utica, where he made an immediate impact with 3 assists in his first professional game. Jack, what was your mindset coming in after not having even played a game for an entire year before this?
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you're playing with really good players. I think, playing with Woozy there pretty early on made things pretty easy. And obviously continuing to build that chemistry with everyone basically on the team. But yeah, early on it was more just pure excitement to be playing hockey again. I think being able to compete and take hits, make plays, all the little things that you kind of missed in terms of practice reps. So I think, I just came in there trying to work hard, and obviously you don't try and contribute from the point side as much. You kind of just focus on trying to make the right play, try and get into the forwards' hands, especially being a D-man, try and get into the forwards' hands, let them make plays. So, no, it's been good so far, and hopefully we can keep things going.
When you were at Canucks training camp and on the Vancouver taxi squad, and now here in Utica watching the guys around you, what do you take away from seeing other professional hockey players' games, especially when you know that a guy like Dakota Joshua was just here a few weeks ago before you came? He gets called up and then scores his first NHL goal in his first NHL game.
Yeah, I think Dakota was there before I got here, but no, it's really cool to see guys get rewarded for the hard work they put in down here, and just shows you how close you are to achieving your dream, and I think gives you a little bit more, not that you need it, but a little bit more motivation every day coming to the rink, knowing that really any day it could be, you could be on a flight going to Vancouver, St. Louis. So no, it's definitely cool.
How do you juggle and judge your success, though? How do you know that you're actually doing the right things on a day-to-day basis here?
Yeah, I think especially coming down here and talking with Vancouver's management and all the staff, both up there and down here. I think for me, a lot of it's trying to round out my 200-foot game. I think my strengths are obviously my creativity and my offensive game, but I think when I'm at my best, I think I'm moving my feet and I'm playing a full 200 feet. Obviously, being able to create from the red line towards their end, but being able to make a good first pass and then kind of be that fourth forward and being able to jump into the rush. So I think that's when I'm at my best. And I mean, just in terms of long-term goals, obviously you want to play in the NHL, but I think down here, going to the rink every day with that same mindset and trying to accomplish something, I think every single day is something that the perspective that I've taken is going to the rink, whether it's video or off ice or obviously on ice, you're going to get your reps in, but trying to accomplish something every day to get better and obviously achieve that dream.
And Jack, who have your role models been so far that have kind of guided you along the way to a successful start to your career that you've had now?
Yeah, I think obviously my parents, I think are two people that have been pretty influential in obviously my career, both on and off the ice. My dad being my coach for a really long time. He played hockey at Boston College and then was drafted by the Islanders and eventually played pro. So I think him and my mom have been obviously the two most influential people in my life. And then I think both my little brother and sister, obviously my younger brother was diagnosed with autism at a young age, so he kind of puts things in perspective for you. And the opportunity, you've been afforded to play this game and play it at such a high level and hopefully make a career out of it is something that I definitely don't take for granted. So I think those two kind of in the back of my head going to the rink every day is something that, again, like I said, not that you need the extra motivation, but if you do need to tap into it, it's there.
Utica Comets forward Jack Rathbone of the Vancouver Canucks organization, thank you for taking the time to speak with us and also introduce yourself a bit more to the community before tonight's game. So let's take one more quick look at Rathbone's numbers so far this year. In 4 games played, he has had 5 points. That leads the Comets in points per game. 1 goal so far. It was his first professional goal, scored last Wednesday. And helping out his teammates with 4 assists. And just 21 years old, he's a young guy. This is one to keep your eye on. So it's almost time for puck drop against the Crunch right here on WPNY. We'll have your Comets Faceoff pregame show before every Comets home game this season, so be sure to keep tuning in. On the other side of the break, we send it over to Comets broadcaster Jason Shaya. And after the game, be sure to tune in to Eyewitness News first at 10 on WFXV, then Eyewitness News at 11 on WUTR for your game recap and highlights. So until then, everybody enjoy the game, and as always, stay friendly and stay tuned.